There was once an adventuring party of 3. The leader, a cocky, quick-witted wizard who was willing to sacrifice anything in the pursuit of knowledge. A rogue who was really only there for the gold coin payout of quests. And a stoic fighter who barely knew anybody in town. These 3 were quite successful working together, dungeon to dungeon, and the one dungeon they conquered was filled with slimes. The place looked like it had been mostly raided out, and that the slimes were newer residents, until they singular chest that the wizard opened. Once the wizard opened the chest, he found a bunch of ancient books of ancient magic that shouldn't exist. They shouldn't be around, things that should have probably been burned but instead were locked away. But throughout all of these spells, most of them involving messing with the dead and souls, things forbidden in this world, one spell stood out to him: the ability to make a soul into an object and form it into a string, and then put it inside of a shell. If he could use this once on like anybody or anything, see if it works, he could be immortal and work on his spells forever. So the wizard was intrigued. Taking all the books, they went back to the Adventurers Guild, trying to sell some of the books for a little bit of coin, but it was barely enough. It wasn't enough to replenish arrows or rations or anything, really. Until the 3 noticed one quest left on the wall. One no one really wanted to take. One that was dangerous. Kill a dragon and bring me its head for 3,000 gold. This would be enough for them to buy new materials, get new rations, and maybe even leave this area and go join another adventurers guild. So they took it. After days of searching, they finally found what they were seeking: the dragon's cave. Once they found the dragon's cave, they attacked. It wasn't very hard. The dragon wasn't very large. They were attacking while it was asleep. And before I knew it, I was dead. As quickly as I was gone, the adventurers got their reward. With my head now given to a nobleman to put on a wall, the wizard had decided that this was the perfect chance to use my soul for his little experiment. Once he figured out how to create the perfect soul string, if you will, he decided that in his pursuit of knowledge and immortality, for this experiment, the best thing he could do to make sure that this whole process worked was to ditch the other adventurers with no money left and move different city. Once he got there, he found an artificer, and after that, me as I know it was created. Hi, hello. In today's video, I am going to be actually making and finishing myself a VTuber model and basically completely revamping my channel. I've been wanting to do this for a little while, but I've never been able to actually complete a model because I've gone a little too overzealous, a little cocky, which is really funny saying the animation I just made. But I had a bunch of goals and I didn't really have the ability or the knowledge to plan or how to do it until spring break happened, and then I did 3 weeks worth of work in 3 days. Do I know how I did that? Yes and no. The answer is I have ADHD and I had a really bad but really good hyper focus that lasted about 3 days straight. Do I recommend doing that? Incredibly unhealthy. Did I get actual work done? Yes. So for this first design, I just wanted to redesign myself. I wanted to align myself more with my own interests. because if you've been in my channel for a while, I used to be a raccoon and then a robot raccoon because I got really into cyberpunk, and then I was like, if I was a raccoon dragon. And I still love raccoons to pieces, but ever since I've gotten ferrets, they've taken up like basically my entire heart. And so I wanted to show that. And so now my dragon is more based off of what a ferret dragon would look like if the animation made it clear. I also love dragons, and I also want to include the closed species I created, or not closed, open species. Wrong terminology. I'm so sorry. I want to include the closed or open species. I'm sorry, it's 4 in the morning. Which is the living dolls. If you want to check that out, I thought after this video, I think it's one of my more popular videos. If you click on the videos, and it's literally I made a open living doll, open species that you can basically use for everything. I would just watch the video so you know the rules for making one of your own, but you're free to use it. You can credit me if you use it for like a narrative story. I would prefer if you credited me, but it's free to use. Anyone can use it. For whatever you want. But I wanted to show off my own open species. That's what I did. I made myself a doll. I had to come up with something for it, and being killed by adventurers was, I think, a pretty normal way for a dragon to go out. So I picked that. For the outfit, my story, or my lore, that's the first part of the lore. The second part is, in this new town, that young wizard actually accumulates a ton of debt, and the local secretary. That is the story I have going on. Be funny, more or less. For it, other than I just wanted to, and I thought it would have been funny. And then I wanted to keep those greens. I have a pretty, semi-iconic green jacket I wear basically everywhere, and it's the Hot Topic My Neighbor Totoro cardigan that my mom got me for Christmas. Love that thing. It's beautiful. And it's super warm when you need it to be, but it's also not too hot because I live in a pretty disgusting climate. It's so bad. It's like, it's cold and then it's hot and then it's like, bring your ass off. Design, wanted to keep the scales, and this will be a moment for me to geek out about the construction of myself, or my VTuber, which is I decided to make them out of a bunch of things, but one of them is like a pearlescent metal. When I render this, at some point I'm gonna render this, it's gonna be so pretty because it's gonna be pearlescent. It's just, I haven't rendered it yet. I've only done pixel art of it in flat colors, but when I render it, it's gonna look delicious. And I was very excited to draw that. Added on glasses to my model, which is something, or not my model, but my Sona, which is something I've been debating for a while because I actually wear glasses in real life. I need them to drive and to see like the whiteboard in class. So they also have a blue light blocker on them, even though I don't need them for up close. So I decided to finally bite the bullet and give myself glasses, because I originally didn't, because it's kind of painful to animate, but now I'm just like, I'm ready to be a little bit more accurate, but I also just think glasses are cute on everybody, and I want my Sona to be super cute. For everything else, a lot of the things stayed the same. The rat tail stayed. The tail basically stayed the same, other than I toned it down a little bit so that it'd be easier to draw. I went through a cycling of all these designs where I went through different tails basically, and everything else basically stayed the same. And this is what I ended up landing on. It was just easier to animate and to draw, because it was more like a cat's tail than like a fluffy like hair mess. It's just straight line. For the model, I decided to do a pixel art model. In one of my really recent videos, where I made emergency commissions, which if you want to commission me, my Ko-Fi is down below, I said I did not know how to do pixel art. I still don't really, as very great. I will say that this has been an experience because I decided to do a more retro game appearance. Also because I wanted my VTuber to look like the Adventure Guild shopkeep if you were in an old pixel RPG, which is why I did all the pixel art and why I wanted to do a pixel model. Well, one, it was gonna be easier, and then two, I just like the look of those a lot. For the background for my streams, because I'm gonna start streaming. Probably next week I will stream. I was gonna plan on doing it today after this video upload, but I'm editing this at 4 in the morning because I'm a procrastinator. So I'm gonna be too tired to stream. So I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna stream later. But what I wanted to do for this model is to keep it sweet, simple, and cute. Which I think I pretty much succeeded on all three of those things. I didn't want to make it more complicated than I knew it already was going to be to rig it. Since I've never rigged before, which by the way, live 2D rigging is hellish, and I'm never doing that again. The next model I get, I'm going to work with a rigger, or I am going to commission it off of somebody, because that was the worst 16 hours of my life. And I have been through some very difficult, painful things. And that was the worst 16 hours of my life. Straight. From 12, or no, not even 12. It was from 10 a.m. to, I don't know, 2 a.m., I think. I was working on rigging this thing. Not for the week. But you'll see me cycle through these, which I don't have very much of a process other than I did what I thought it should look like, and I just placed down colors and lines, and I rendered it how I think it would look. I'm very new to pixel art, so this was just me trying to figure out what I liked for my own style for this. I figured out my art style with pixels a lot more as I was making these assets, because this was one of the first assets I made. And you'll see that, because I did make a couple of PNG tubers for other people who I might stream with. Not full models, because I'm not rigging again, but I did make them PNG models so that we all looked like we were in the same universe, because I thought that'd be really cool. You'll also see me cycle through a bunch of emotes and mouth movements that I ended up not using, because I couldn't figure out how to rig it, and I was over live 2D that I literally just was like, no, I'm not doing this. When you see the crying emote, that was me. It was so bad. It was so bad. I can't even describe to you how bad it was. Hellish. Nightmare fuel. Making your character blink. It took me 4 or 5 hours to figure out how to make the blink work. It was so bad because the blink wouldn't work. Anyway, I cannot. I'm having more flashbacks to that. But yeah. When I do my debut, I'm gonna say the rigging will be a little janky, because I barely know how to do it. This is the first time I've ever rigged anything on Live 2D or even looked at Live 2D. So it's okay, it's passable, but it's not like gonna be the greatest thing you'd ever seen that's gonna track all my movements perfectly. It's just gonna exist, and that's fine. But this is the model as it is. I really like the way it turned out, minus the rigging. You'll see that later when I do stream. It's okay, but I do like the design, the pixel art. It's so cute. It gave off the perfect of what I wanted it to give off. Of this just cute, sweet, simple. I didn't give the mushroom patterning on the sleeves
for the model, because I was like, how am I going to do that with such little pixels? Because I was still trying to figure out my pixel style. And now I regret it, but I also don't regret it because I can just... The mushrooms have gone on and off depending on how simple I want to go, or if it needs it to pop out more throughout these drawings. So it's like a variable that I can take away from my design, which a lot of my design I wanted that to be so that I can make things easier. As you saw in my speed paint, I have my tattoos or placings where my tattoos are for Miwa, but they're not on the model. And it's not because I don't like my tattoos and I don't want them on the model. It's because I purposely intended, if I needed to animate, for me to not have to animate those tattoos, and I knew that was going to be something I'd do if I animated Miwa, was I would probably take away the tattoos. Maybe the paw print one would stay, but the moon one, I probably wouldn't keep it if I were animating a full body, because that's a pain. So I also knew for the model, the pixels, it would have been a pain, so I decided to not do it for this model. When I'm going to try to get a more higher pixel model, and maybe I'll be able to add those details, but for this one it doesn't have it. But off of the topic of models, for everything I designed, which I'm not going to go into every borders, the animation, and my new banner, all the Discord emotes I made, which if you're not on my Discord, you should join. I have a bunch of new emotes that are all yours to use. I designed myself a mascot. Most VTubers have a mascot that's like separate from them, and my mascot is Milky Way. I decided, after some contemplation, because I was like, oh, I could just do one of my ferrets. This is gonna be really morbid. I thought about that for about 5 seconds, and then I realized something, and again, I'm gonna just say it's really messed up. Animals die. And I decided it'd be really sad if I was like, oh yeah, Calypso's my mascot, and then Calypso died like 10 years from now, because she's like a relatively young ferret, so she's gonna live a long time. And I was like, that would be so messed up. I don't think I can do that. So I designed a completely separate ferret named Milky Way, who is supposed to be a accumulation of all my ferrets I will ever have. And the name Milky Way is because all of my ferrets, my 2 ferrets, both have space names of things that are in the Milky Way or in our solar system, but I said Milky Way so I had more naming conventions. Calypso is named after the moon on Saturn, and Vesper is named, it's like Latin for star. So they both have space names, so obviously my fictional ferret, who's supposed to represent both of them, and any future ferrets, would have Milky Way because they represent the entire Milky Way. And then for this design, I wanted to do like a cosmic design. Me figuring out the colors was probably one of the more painful things about this design, because I couldn't figure out what kind of color, what kind of browns I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do a brown ferret because I really like light colored ferrets. They're really pretty, but I don't have any light colored ferrets, so I feel like I'd be lying if I made this a lighter colored ferret when I have 2, they're like mapley, sable-y colored ferrets with a little bit of that like white on them, but not like a lot. So I decided to just do the pattern, or the basic pattern of what the 2 I have already are. And it ended up working out really nicely because I picked a nice purple that went with the cosmos in Galaxy for the feet and the eyes and the tail. Which, speaking of another design element of Milky Way, is whenever they move, their stars aren't necessarily a pattern like stripes. It's like a clipping mask is over those parts of their body, and depending on how they move, the Milky Way just shows different parts of it to add this more mysterious celestial element to their design. It also makes my life a little bit easier because all I have to do is do a certain overlay of 2 different galaxy images on the IBS Paint library and mix them and blend them together. But it also is like this kind of cool thing, and then I can imagine animating and it being like really fun because like it moves but that doesn't move, and it like makes the character more celestial, and that's what I was really going for. I also, speaking of another design element you'll obviously notice, is Milky Way has these really long fangs. I added this because it's not for any specific reason, like, oh, this is a special celestial ferret, the species. No, they're just, the Milky Way is like one. It's just them, and they're special and beautiful, but the reason they have those fangs is because Vesper, which is a ferret I was talking about in one of my other videos, who she's sick, she has these really cute little teeth, and whenever she is just laying around, her teeth actually poke out from under her gums a little bit. And I wanted to add that, but I over-exaggerated it because it's so stinking cute. And so I wanted Milky Way to have it because I thought it was so cute. So Milky Way gets the little saber-tooth teeth because it's so cute. But yeah, this was a really fun video for me. I'm not gonna lie, even though it's almost 5 in the morning and I'm gonna freaking die of like exhaustion at some point tonight. Doing the drawings for this and planning this and like getting all my stuff together to actually like really improve my channel, because that's all I want to do. I want to improve for you guys. I really do. It was so fun. I can't even like, I've been so happy to like reset all my assets, try to figure out new ways of editing audio, which my audio still might be janky for a while. I'm not very good at editing audio, and I'm gonna apologize for that, but I am trying to learn. Making all the new assets, the emojis. I completely redid my website, which if you want to go to my website, you can get a digital Hatsune Miku candle print for $25. Because that painting I did twice and it took me a long time, so that's gonna be the price. But I set it up so that now my portfolio actually works and is everything in it. And I'm just so excited to actually like have all these assets I like instead of using old ones in places where I don't have assets for it, because I literally did everything. I cannot think of a single asset I missed, and if I did, I'm gonna get to it. But I literally have done everything, and I'm so excited to have this channel have a more consistent look, and for me to just improve editing and content and just aesthetics, and to start streaming, because I'm thinking on my off weeks, if I have the time, I might be able to stream on YouTube and Twitch like simultaneously if my internet can handle that. If not, it'll probably just be YouTube, because I already have my channel here, so that I can like draw and like do things with you guys, because I like the concept of streaming, other than I don't think I'm that fun unedited. But I'm very excited. I'm really excited to share this like new part of the channel with you guys that I actually finished. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, subscribe. If you're already subscribed, comment. And if you guys want to see me stream, I'm going to my debut stream. I want to play Planet Zoo, because I bought it for the stream so I could make my perfect zoo, because I'm a big giant animal nerd. I will join me. I will be updating on the community tab here on YouTube, and if you have a Discord, join my Discord server, and I will be updating there, because I really want to. I want to make my perfect zoo, because I'm so... But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like the art in this video, subscribe, share to anyone who might want to see this or see me play Planet Zoo next week. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!